Has Nick Robertson gained enough trust from Craig Berube as Alex Steeves makes an impression? Hey everyone, welcome to Inside the Leafs. Rob Wong joined alongside by Toronto Sun Maple Leafs writers Terry Koshan and Lance Hornby. And guys, the Maple Leafs back in first place in the Atlantic Division after a pair of wins coming out of the Four Nations face-off, and a lot of secondary scoring showing up, which is something that has been missing for large parts of the season. Terry, the on-again and off-again relationship that Leafs fans have with Nick Robertson seems to be on again after his two-goal performance against Chicago. The bigger question, though, is does Craig Berube and the coaching staff have enough faith in Robertson that he'll be an option come playoff time?
Well, one game doesn't make that, I don't think. I mean, the key for Robertson is to, have a little more production now going forward. It is just 10 goals and the first two in quite a while. So I wouldn't necessarily go that far, but, if he's in the lineup come playoff time, which, we assume he probably will be, I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens before the March 7th trade deadline. But, will it be because they necessarily trust him or because they have to use him? One or the other, I suppose. But, I don't know. I just, he's got to keep this going now. But, as we've seen with Robertson this year, the inconsistency has been a big a factor for him. And now, it would be a nice time for him to find it. There's no doubt. But I don't think we can make that call necessarily off one game and him putting the puck in the net twice against one of the worst teams in the National Hockey League. If he does that in what's going to be a much tougher road game in Boston tomorrow night, which, never mind where the Bruins are in the standings, it just will be, then great. But keep it going if you're Nick Robertson, and that's how you're going to earn that trust. But, I think the jury would still be out on that one.
I'd have to agree certainly with a couple of Terry's points. One being Nick Robertson can't have a game like this and then just disappear for a month off the score sheet, which has been unfortunately a situation there. And he's, really he's not the easiest guy to play with in terms of a guy. He's shot happy, for lack of a better term. I think certainly he has his defense, straightened out. He can be trustworthy there, but he just loves to shoot. Sometimes it's not from the most ideal angle, especially the longer his slump went on. He just kind of fires from everywhere, and that's not necessarily going to help. However, this could be the ideal line for him. The way things are shaking up with the top two, McMahon, and the way Domi with playmaking. Domi also struggling to score. Domi's a pretty good playmaker though, and that seems to be working out. But really, especially if you're going to put Robertson on the second power play unit, he has to cash some of those chances. And we'll have to see, as Terry says, he's got to show up in the big games like Boston on Tuesday.
The other point I'd make on Robertson, too, is let's go back to what Craig Berube loves in his wingers. It's what we see in McMahon and Nyes, and when he's healthy, Pacioretty. Big, physical, get in on the forecheck and make a difference that way. And Robertson doesn't have that ability. So, it's not a knock. It's not a knock against the player necessarily. Just the fact that he isn't the prototype of what Berube wants on his wings, especially on the left side.
Absolutely. The skill set not exactly matching what the coaching staff wants, but a couple of goals in the nets will definitely be a good positive sign for him. Meanwhile, Marley's leading goal scorer, Alex Steeves, has his first NHL goal after his most recent call-up, Lance. It's been a revolving door on that fourth line at times, as it looks like Steeves is getting the latest shot. Could he be the one to lock down a position, or will the game of musical chairs continue?
Well, certainly, we'll start off by saying he's better than Ryan Reeves in terms of the guy who can help, who can score, and he's not a small man either. To Terry's point, he's built for the Craig Berube game. You certainly got to like him there. He's certainly impressed with speed as well. He's got fast wheels, and in the Bobby McMahon, Matthew Nyes mold, that's very, very valuable to this team. The man can score. You've seen it through college, 3 goal seasons with the Marlies and leading the AHL. That's it's pretty impressive and great to see him finally light it up. I guess the main thing will be what happens after the trade deadline. At least have a lot of centers who can move over to the left side to play if they want, not necessarily on the right at this point. It all depends, of course, Pacioretty South, Calle Yarncroc, that kind of thing, and what they do at the trade deadline. But certainly right now, you have to like what Steeves is doing, and we'll have to see if he too can keep the consistency going to earn Berube's trust come playoff time.
Yeah, I like Steeves. I mean, I think he had a good game last night. Not as productive as the night before, obviously, but did some good things in Chicago. And whether it's a revolving door, Rob, I guess we'll have to see. But he can make a run at this. Like Lance says, better than Ryan Reeves. So you check that box right away. Where does Connor Dewar fit into this when he's healthy? Um, you know, Pacioretty gets healthy, so that's the trickle down effect in the lineup. Carly Yarncroc, what does that do? If everybody's healthy, then it is a bit of an uphill run for Alex Steeves. Now, again, we got to see what happens after the trade deadline, and maybe an easier question to answer in the week after March 7. But I think the very early impression of Steeves is he's come as advertised, and like Lance said, that the play that Berube likes, and Berube was asked over the weekend, what do you like about this guy? The direct play, a bit of a no nonsense approach from Alex Steeves. You know what you're getting each time he goes over the boards, and then a bit of the cherry on top is that, like, I guess the one thing that would put him ahead of some of these other guys on that fourth line, if you're looking for this on your fourth line, is that touch. I mean, look at the way he scored that goal against Carolina, the one-timer off the pass from Tavares. And, he was asked afterward about it being his office in the AHL, like Glenn said, leading the league in scoring, goal scoring. So there are a lot of good things to like about him that way. And certainly there's no lack of confidence. Steeves is of the belief that he can play in the National Hockey League, whether it's with the Leafs or somebody else next year, as he's going to be a Group 6 UFA. But good first impression. I'll keep it going. And, I'd like to see, we don't know what the lineup is going to be for Boston. The Leafs are off today, but give them a good run here. Keep them in the lineup against the Bruins. Lance and I were talking about, Robertson having to have a good game again against the Bruins. Well, let's see if Steeves can do a little tougher competition in an arena where, things can be a little interesting for the Leafs, as we've seen over the years. So, like I said, good first impression. Keep it going, but I think for sure he's going to be an option for them, or he should be.
Very well said. Yeah, we'll see what happens here. But so far, so good for one Alex Steeves. As always, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. For Lance Hornby and Terry Koshan and Rob Wong, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.